Now, what's going on with you today? Hope you're doing good. Thank you for joining me today. So, you guys know how we've been talking a lot about this Nicki Minaj versus Megan Thee Stallion beef, right? It's for a good reason. Things have been obviously popping off. Nicki just dropped her response, and Megan Thee Stallion still hasn't said a peep. But we've been focusing so much on Nicki versus Meg that we completely forgot Megan Thee Stallion actually dissed Drake on her record as well. I feel like this is something that's kind of been overlooked. So I want to put a little bit of our focus on this particular diss that was aimed at Drake. Let's take a look at what she said and why she actually decided to diss him. So I want to take a look at this entire section from the second verse. Let's start from the top and go all the way down to the Drake diss. So she starts off the verse by saying, "Nigga, ain't you here? I ain't scared of dick. Pause. Any man go against me, I handle shit. I'm the Teflon Don in the courtroom. They be throwing that dirt. Don't shit stick." And then this part is kind of dope. She says, "All these little rap niggas so fraud. Xanax be their hardest bars. These niggas hate on BBLs and be walking around with the same scars. Ooh. Real curvy, no etching. Niggas fight to get in my section." And then this is when the Drake diss comes into play. She says, "Don't speak on my body count if the dick ain't worth coming back for seconds. Cosplay gangsters, fake ass accents, posted in another nigga hood like a bad bitch." So I'm pretty sure what, Meg said is self-explanatory. Cosplay gangsters, fake ass accents, well, that definitely applies to Drake. Because Drake is a guy who, first of all, switches up his accent every few business days. One day he's from the slums of Jamaica, and then the next day he's from the UK, right? You just never know with Drake. I mean, he could wake up one day and he could say, shit, today I'ma be from Iceland. And then also too, the fake gangster line. We all know that Drake is someone who from time to time leans into like a gangster image. Listening to Drake's music, we all know that, from time to time he be kind of like painting this picture of himself that he's like some dangerous man with a whole lot of mob ties, which I'm sure Drake actually has some mob ties because of his status, right? But in that case, it would strictly be because he has so much money and so much power, and not necessarily because there's some kind of credibility to Drake's street cred. So Drake has kind of been battling, with being called soft his entire career, right? And so this is why I think a lot of times he tries to compensate by trying to come across as the complete opposite. So what Meg said obviously applies to Drake, and there's a lot of validity to what she's saying as well. She's not just rapping out of her ass. She's taking a very valid jab at Drake. So let's talk about why she actually said this. Now, if you guys don't know, right, if you're not in the loop, back in November 2022, Drake dropped a joint project with 21 Savage titled Her Loss. I'm sure you know that. Now, on a song called Circo Loco, Drake said the following: "I've been blown through the money like a growing trees. I've been fucking on a French bitch. C'est la vie. I just put him on a jet, now they all Italian. Way I'm dressed and tell him I've been to 1,000 islands." And then on this next part, he said, "This bitch lie about getting shots, but she's still a stallion." And that right there was a shot at Megan Thee Stallion. This was a reference to the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case when Tory Lanez was accused of shooting Megan in the foot. And also too, the word stallion, apart from it being a reference to Megan Thee Stallion, an adult male horse that is used for breeding. And horse is an insult that people have been thrown at Megan Thee Stallion for a long time, actually. So it's like an insult that's synonymous with Megan Thee Stallion's name. So this right here is actually why Meg decided to diss Drake on this record right here. She's essentially, responding back to Drake because he was the one who dissed her initially. Speaking of dissing, I'm about to diss yo ass if you don't click on that like button right now.
Do it.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Don't be stingy.
for not being stingy. Continuing. Now the question is, why exactly did Drake diss Megan Thee Stallion in the first place? Well, the surface level answer, he messes with Tory Lanez. And so this was Drake's way of siding with Tory Lanez, because you guys know the tension that was up in the air when this entire Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case was ongoing. Aside from the fans who were kind of divided, on one side people were supporting Tory Lanez because they didn't believe that he actually shot Meg, and then on the other hand another group of people were saying, we gotta protect this woman, she just got violated by this man who shot her, right? So there is a clear separation in the middle. And aside from the fans, a lot of artists in the music industry were also taking a stand by making it known what side they were on. One of those people like we know now, was Drake. He decided to publicly show support for Tory Lanez on the Circo Loco diss aimed at Megan by insinuating that she lied about getting shot. Now that's the surface level answer to this, because personally, I don't think Drake did this because, you know, he actually wanted to show support for Tory Lanez. Now this is the bar that he spit, and you know, most of us are gonna assume that's why he did it, because he's taken his stance against Meg in defense of Tory. But there was an underlying reason why Drake decided to diss Megan Thee Stallion, which is something a lot of people never talked about. And this goes hand in hand with the project Her Loss and why Drake actually decided to drop this joint project with 21 Savage. Now before we get there, let's actually talk about why I don't think that Drake did this because he was looking out for Tory. And this kind of goes back to some time ago, okay? For anyone who is familiar with the history, Tory Lanez and Drake, they're actually beefing in the past. Now this beef dates back to like 2015 when Tory Lanez was doing his freestyle, and he had this line where he said, "I know these niggas about to act scary, T.O. nigga, only spin without the Blackberry." And this was a reference to Drake, you know, during that old freestyle where he was freestyling with a Blackberry. And then after this, Drake in 2016, he dropped the record Summer 16 where he was responding to Tory Lanez, and he said, "All you boys in the new Toronto want to be me a little." And that was a reference to a Tory Lanez project which dropped the previous year titled The New Toronto. So Tory Lanez and Drake were kind of like, you know, going back and forth, sending shots at each other from time to time. Tory Lanez on the Uber Everywhere remix said the following: "Yeah, pussy boy, I'll slap that smile clean off your face. You don't know no trap niggas, you don't be round this way. You some actor nigga boy, I used to see you on the screen." And this is obviously a reference to Drake being a, you know, child actor on Degrassi before he became a rapper. But anyway, in the end, they decided to make a truce, and Tory Lanez went on this worldwide tour with Drake. Now I'm bringing this up to kind of highlight the fact that Drake and Tory Lanez, they had issues in the past. And despite the fact that they made a truce, I still don't believe that Drake saying what he said about Megan Thee Stallion was a way for him to back up Tory Lanez, because as we all know, when it comes to Drake and his beefs, Drake is someone who rarely puts down a hatchet once he's gotten into it with him. And that kind of brings me to the incentive Drake had as far as dissing Megan Thee Stallion. Now the incentive Drake had is that the project Her Loss, first of all, was created because Drake wanted to do two different things here. Number one, he wanted to find a way to validate his street image, and so that's why he has 21 Savage on his project. And then number two, Drake wanted to also double down on recruiting more male fans to his audience. That's why the project Her Loss is titled Her Loss. It's a subconscious message to his male audience that reinforces a perspective and mindset that a lot of, specifically like young guys, are very drawn to. Now a lot of people have been speculating that Drake dropped this project in order to get back at the women who he feels like lost him. So he accomplished two things by dropping his project. Number one, he managed to add some type of credibility to his street image, and that was with the help of 21 Savage. And then number two, he managed to recruit even more male fans to his audience. Now for all this to be neatly packaged and consistent on all fronts, Drake has to what? He has to take a shot at a woman, Megan Thee Stallion. That's where she comes into play. Since Megan Thee Stallion was lying was already a popular opinion before Drake hit on this, it was a very easy way for him to throw out the shot just so the rest of the packaging could make sense. So that's the truth about this Drake and Megan Thee Stallion beef right here. Personally, I feel like Meg actually took the W here because, you know, she was attacked by Drake unprovoked, and it's not that, you know, Megan's diss was like so mind-blowing and crazy, but the fact that Drake interjected himself in something that had nothing to do with him in this kind of fashion, personally, I think that alone is enough to give the crown to Megan. It's kind of crazy how this kind of thing didn't really alienate Drake's female audience at all. You would think it would have some kind of negative effect because of how big and controversial the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion case was, but nothing happened, right? The thing about Drake is that because of his status, like because of how grand the name Drake is, he's always gonna get away with certain things that other artists would have never gotten away with. Definitely interesting to see that, honestly. But that's why Megan Thee Stallion dissed Drake. You know, she was simply responding back to him after he dissed her back in 2022. In the end, I think Meg kind of snapped though, because, you know, like again, her diss wasn't like mind-blowing or too crazy, but she did hit on something that a lot of people say about Drake, which is he's an actor, he's a poser, he's a fake. So it is one of Drake's pain points. I mean, if you're gonna say anything about Drake, you better say this, right? And that's exactly what Megan Thee Stallion did. Touche, Meg. Touche. Anyway, if you made it this far, before you leave, do me a favor and like the video. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing so you don't miss this amazing content. Any thoughts on this conversation? Why Megan Thee Stallion dissed Drake? What do you guys think about Megan's diss? And what do you guys think about some of the things that I brought up in this video in relation to why Drake actually dissed Meg? Do you personally have maybe another theory? Definitely curious to hear what you have to say, and catch you in the comment section below. But most importantly of all, I'll catch you on the next video. Have a good day, have a good night, take care, and yeah, peace. I'm out.